Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Diana Taurasi shows why the WNBA players are in real trouble with the 2026 CBA negotiations, and they very well may not have a season in 2026 unless someone gets in their ear and lets them know about, oh, let's use the word reality. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. You look amazing. Shout out to the 19. Let's go. So Diana Taurasi, apparently a new show on Amazon Prime, and she had some interesting things to say that I am still trying to digest because, it's hard for me to believe that this came from a college graduate. I know that sounds harsh. That sounds mean, but I fear for the future of society if this is what comes out of college nowadays. So anyway, we're going to take a listen to this. We're going to talk about it. I'm very curious what you all think about this as well, because it definitely is a group think that we have in the WNBA that very much mirrors what Diana Taurasi says here, and that is not good for next season.
I'm the best player in the world, and I have to go to a communist country to get paid like a capitalist.
Playing in Europe during the WNBA's off-season, these women were going for 7 or 8 months. They were chasing their value.
One time I came back and I was like, man, my parents have just gotten older, and I've missed a big part of it. We weren't making that much money, so generational wealth was coming from going to Russia every year. Now we have to come back home and get paid nothing to play in a harder league in worse conditions against the best competition in the world. The fucking janitor at the arena made more than me. I'm the best player.
Wow. Okay, there is so much to unpack here. I cannot believe. Do you have any idea? Do you have anyone have any idea how many people it gets through when you're doing something like this to where it actually gets on air? I am waiting for Diana Taurasi's team to say, "Hey, we have to scrub the internet. We can't have this out there. Everything about this is completely delusional." Man, my international econ professor will be having a field day with Diana Taurasi. Speaking of, I'm so glad I was long gone by 2018 when the U.S. men's national team needed to beat Trinidad and Tobago to make the World Cup, and they didn't because that's where my international econ professor was from. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so first I want to make clear because I'm yes, I am going to rip this. I don't have a problem with Diana Taurasi. I think some of the things she's done are idiotic for starters, and again, imagine, I know we have to say, well, if someone else did it, imagine if a male basketball player did this in a league that is, a little different than the WNBA, where you kiss an opposing player on the lips without their permission. Because Diana Taurasi did that. I don't think enough people realize that. That says something about who she is. And anyone who wants to dismiss that as not a big deal, well, we just have very, very, very different morals, because I'm just saying, if an opposing player did that to me, there would be some problems. I mean, unless it was like Joey King or Alexander Daddario or something, they have a pass. They can, if they're listening, I'm ready. Anyway, but that's a whole nother topic. But let's start with the end. I want to start with the end because this really irks me, and I don't know if they understand how bad this makes them look because other players have done similar things, and that's when they compare their salaries to other professions in a way that you heard at the end. Diana Taurasi clearly seeing no value in janitors, seeing no value in that industry, and seeing no value in the people who do those jobs. Those jobs that, by the way, Dana, are far, far more important than yours. Yours is optional. Yours is entertainment. Society, hey, look, entertainment's important. We all get that. I don't think this channel would exist if we didn't think it was, but it's optional. We do not need it. And there are a lot of different options for entertainment. The WNBA is competing with a lot of things for limited dollars and limited time, Diana. We don't need the WNBA. We've got a whole lot of other sports options. We've got a whole lot of other entertainment options, whether it's music and going to concerts or it's movies, because taking the family to a movie, you got to get out alone nowadays. So that is just a bad look. She's not the only player to do it. Current players have done it. It is a very, very bad look. Stop it. And by the way, as a society, we absolutely would know if we didn't have any janitors. We would not know or be affected if the WNBA closed down, which is going to flip it back to the first part. This idea that you have to go to a communist country to get paid like capitalists shows this is I'm trying to pick my words carefully because I don't want to be mean because I don't want my point to get lost, but this is breathtakingly ignorant, and it's disturbing as hell that this comes from a college graduate because she has it completely wrong. You don't get paid like a capitalist by going to a communist country where there is not economic freedom and you have some billionaires who are having a pissing match, and that's why they're going to pay and burn money basically on this women's basketball because they don't have to turn a profit. You seem to completely misunderstand what capitalism means. Capitalism is exactly what you are going through in the US. The customer is who determines your value, not you, not your thoughts about how good you are as a basketball player. That is irrelevant. There are plenty of people in the world very good at something, maybe even the best in the world at something, and they don't make a living at it because society in a capitalist system doesn't value it and isn't going to spend their time or money. No one cared about watching you play basketball. That is why you weren't making a lot of money. That's it. And that's capitalism, Diana. That's why, as much as we may hate it, when someone creates something that people value, and now it's on the way out. But you could look at Elon Musk with Tesla. You could look at Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. You could go back to Bill Gates and Microsoft and everything. You can make a lot of arguments now about who they are and their product and this and that, but they clearly created something in a capitalist system that people valued enough to make all of them billionaires. That's how it works. The customer did not value what you did as a basketball player because, again, it is optional. And they decided they would rather watch the NFL, or they would rather watch the NBA, or they would rather watch college men's basketball, or they would rather watch movies. They would rather go to movies. They would rather, well, back in the day when you started, when this is about and you were in Russia, they would rather buy or rent DVDs or Blu-rays, or buy new music, or go to a concert, or go to a movie and all that. The WNBA was far down on the list. And this goes to, I'm going to tie it into the current negotiations with the CBA, because as you know, all the players who are talking sound exactly like this. Look at their ridiculous shirts at the All-Star game with the pay us what we're owed. You're not owed anything. You are optional to society. You get paid based on how the customer, which is the fan, values what you provide, values the product that you put out there. And so far, they've said, this is what you're worth to us. You're not underpaid. You don't deserve more. You have to earn it. And the way you earn it is by putting a product on the court that is good enough that people who are spending their money elsewhere now say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take some of that and I'm going to put it toward the WNBA because I like what I see. I am entertained by it. And my whatever amount, $100 to go to a game, or my 2 hours to watch on regular TV, I would rather do that than go out to dinner, or to, buy a movie ticket and take my my 2 kids, because that's probably going to run you $100 when you get popcorn and everything. And that is how it works in a capitalist society, Diana. Just because you play basketball, you're not owed generational wealth. That is absolutely insane for you to even think like that. You have no understanding at all, zero understanding of economics. It is absolutely wild to me. And the problem is, all of the players are like this in the WNBA, and they all have this mentality that they are owed something that they didn't earn. And as long as they continue to think like this, the 2026 season is at risk. If they do not play in 2026, I don't know if the WNBA recovers from that, because Major League Baseball took a long time to recover, and it had been around, 100 years before that happened, which goes to the other point when she talks about the conditions and this and that. She's talking about early in her career, which would have been what, like 2003, 2004, 2005, which was very, very early in the career of the WNBA. Diana, have you looked at what Major League Baseball players went through back in the first 10 years of the league, or NFL players in the first 10 years of the league? Major League, they were, first of all, they were taking buses to games. They were traveling around the country, which is why, by the way, a lot of the early franchises were all on the East Coast, because they were all busing there, right? And it was commercial flights for the longest. They all went through it too. They reaped the benefits when the product became enough that people were spending the kind of money. And then, of course, you get TV and media rights deals and which changed everything. And that allowed them to then make the living that they make, because people valued it enough in a capitalist economy, Diana, that they were willing to pay that money for it. This I'm sorry, but this irks me, and this is where you can't even have a discussion to go forward with, because you have players that have no idea what they're talking about. They have lived in this bubble of entitlement, and they are incapable of understanding reality and economic reality clearly with the WNBA and why they get paid what they get paid. And again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't get a little more, or that they're not underpaid with the new media rights deal. We shall see. But what I am saying is, this is ridiculous. This is insane. This is completely, completely wrong. And if the players continue with this thought process that we get from Diana Taurasi here, there will not be a 2026 season. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. As always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.